Hi everyone, Magnus here, and today's video we've got some more daily rapid chess on the way back to 2400 rapid in the 10-minute live pool, where I will be giving you my thoughts and ideas as we go along. I will be editing this video a little bit more than normal, just to try and cut out some of the silence where I might be thinking or my opponent's thinking for a prolonged period of time. So let me know in the comments if you prefer it like this or as a slightly more relaxed and slower pace like the previous videos, where there are some moments of silent thought. So let's just wait a second for this challenge. Okay, here we go. We've got a 2356 from Canada, Mr. Anton Migolo. Okay, let's go for an Alapin. They respond with e5. I'm going to immediately attack that. And I'm going to go for bishop c4 just because they don't have a pawn there to help out. Seems to me like potentially d4, knight g5 could be a nice way to try and attack this f7 pawn. So let's think for a second. d4 takes. If takes, I can go for knight to g5, then potentially knight h6 is the response. So there's also just d4 takes, knight takes, and if they go bishop to g7, I can always consider retreating the knight, and I will have successfully given them a isolated queen's pawn here, which I think should be good for me. Okay, so now the question is, do I want to go for this, forcing them to play a move like knight to h6? That could be interesting. So maybe something like here, knight h6. I can consider queen to b3, but I don't think it's that good. They can simply play a move like queen e7, and that doesn't seem to do all that much for me. So I'm just going to take in the center here. If they develop their bishop, I can consider developing my bishop to e3 onto a nice square, just like this. And it seems to me like they've got a sort of dragon set up, but I think that white should be a little bit better with the fact that there is an isolated queen's pawn right here rather than a c pawn that could be going there. Or rather the pawn being on c6, which would be more standard. So I will castle up now. And let's see what they have. Pawn to a6 makes a lot of sense, going for b5. I'm probably going to disallow this move b5 with my pawn going to a4. So I think I'll go for that fairly quickly. Don't want to give them too much time to think. Pawn to d6, another very quick move. My opponent's blitzing out these moves. They probably want to develop their bishop somewhere. They don't really have a good square though. So I think I can fairly safely just make an improving move, like bringing out my queen to d2 and rook to the center. I think that makes a fair amount of sense. I'm going to play queen d2, bring my rook to the middle. On the move like knight here, I always have the e2 square to retreat to with my bishop, and that means pawn to f4 can come. Okay, they continue to play very quickly. Considering a move like h3 here, I think that could make a good bit of sense. The point of h3 is that I don't want them to play knight to g4 or bishop to g4, and I would like to just get this move f4 in nice and safe. I will take back with the bishop because I don't want to get into any nasty discoveries here. And potentially I'm thinking pawn to f4 here. I like this move. If they go for this fork, I will simply snap this bishop here. I will take it, and I can consider taking this bishop here, and if they take my rook, I will take their rook, and we'll have a fairly big exchange of pieces. I will be taking your rook, thank you. And actually, I think I just won a piece, and I didn't notice. So it's always nice to win a piece without realizing it. I guess that was just a blunder by our opponent. Looks like they're moving so fast that I won't actually have to do the editing that I said I was going to do. So that's fairly nice. We get a quick resignation and up to 2358. Getting quite close now, only 42 points to go. Let's have a quick look at the analysis. Click on game review. Okay, yeah, fairly reasonable. I didn't have to find too many difficult moves there, but okay, let's go through the game. It was pawn to e4. They went for the Sicilian. I go for the Alpine, developing. This bishop c4 is pretty standard in positions where the e pawns move forward 2 squares rather than just 1. That way, it's much more effective on the f7 pawn. I strike in the center because often when you have these 2 pawns ahead of this d pawn, you want to try and blow open the position so that you can leave them with this isolated queen's pawn here rather than allow them to consolidate. So we get this mass exchange, bishop comes out, I defend, apparently knight to b5, that makes a lot of sense going for this weak square here on d6, but I just play bishop to e3, developing a piece. I develop my other pieces, castle, a6, I prevent with a4, I prevent b5, d6 and queen d2 makes some sense. However, yes, I guess would have been better probably to start with h3, stopping any pieces ever coming to g4, then I can go queen d2. So a little bit of a move order thing. They don't exploit it too much with bishop to e2, and I get to play h3 anyway. Apparently f4 was good. f4 I was concerned about knight to g4. Let's see what they have to say. I guess I could just take it. Probably just takes, right? So something like here, here, then h3 maybe. The bishop would have to kind of go back to c8. If it goes to d7, I can take the knight, then take the pawn. If it goes to e6, so okay, apparently bishop to e6 would have been the best try. And if it went to e6, maybe I would consider taking the bishop and bringing a rook to the center. And I would agree with the engine that there's definitely very good pressure for white here. But I go for the slightly slower move, pawn to h3. We get a trade in the center. Pawn to f4, kicking out the knight. And knight to c4 is apparently a losing blunder because of the tactics that follow with takes, takes. And I do take another piece here, which I hadn't fully realized during the game. But after they take my rook, I take their rook, and I emerge up a piece with takes, 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 takes. And after queen takes and rook takes, they simply resign the game because they are down a knight. They have a weak center pawn that I will go and quickly collect, and the game is completely lost. So thank you for watching. If you did like this video, please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you in the next video on the road back to 2400. Bye!